Big mistake that could change the dynamic of a race he's been leading since January. I'm here at ABC's election headquarters with the entire political team and David Muir. The pandemic, how the president has handled it, still
in an hour.
Issue in this race.
No question, George. There's really no
way
to escape the pandemic, both on that debate stage and in these final 12 days of the campaign. And quite frankly, Americans are aware of this. They're living this. They're exhausted by it. And so many American families have actually been affected
it's
by
coming
it.
on.
The numbers are staggering.
In a little bit. We thought it was at 8. We're so stupid.
We've seen the virus
it's
right now,
you can't see.
12 days left in the Midwest,
That's
in
stupid.
the middle of the country.
All right, well,
60,000 new cases
it's
a day.
tonight.
How do we recover this economy, and how do we do that without a significant loss of life as we move forward?
It's time.
Yeah, similar to David, does he respond with
Again,
the Obama mantra of
I would watch it on Fox News, but we don't get that.
Of course, we're in the middle of
So we're watching it with my not so much short friend, alike George Stephanopoulos, who's actually shorter than me, I figured out. I'm 2 inches taller than him.
If I was Joe Biden, I'd make sure this campaign is one of compassion and cohesion.
I think Joe Biden's leading in most states, isn't he? I guess maybe this is like a last gasp Trump thing so that maybe he can get extra votes. I don't know. Again, I do this without telling you who I'm going for, although you could probably figure it out by now.
Don't forget that in 2016, at this point, Hillary Clinton was winning too.
That is true. Though the Russians rigged it. And that probably just gave away who I'm voting for, didn't it? That lamp, by the way, guys, look forward, because that lamp here in a couple days, we're going to have some fun with it. After Halloween, because I need it.
Chris doesn't look so good.
Who is he?
Chris Christie.
Chris Christie? That's his name?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Former governor of New Jersey.
Does everybody in New Jersey have a double chin?
No.
He has like a kid behind the camera chin.
He really believes that, or he changes it up.
Matthew Dowd?
I'm really looking at Donald Trump in this because Joe Biden just has to stay steady and keep doing what he's doing. The question for me is, can Donald Trump be something different than he's been for 5 years? Can he get out of the bubble of everybody telling him the same thing over and over? And can he understand there's a whole group of voters out there that don't agree with him a lot?
That's a good setup, isn't it?
Can he appeal to them in a fundamentally different way than he's done for 5 years? Because that's what he has to do.
That is a big
Turn the
question.
volume up.
Terry Moran, you get the last word.
And just to follow up
Keep
on
going.
that, bring us together. That's what voters wanted in 1968, another tumultuous year. That was Richard Nixon's sense of the electorate. Does Donald Trump sense that?
Didn't he get impeached or he quit? Nixon. He
He
quit.
resigned because he was about to be
We'll
impeached.
be right back.
Oh, it's starting.
No, it's commercial.
But it's at 16 seconds. We gotta get a DVR. So this time we're watching it on the narrow screen instead of the CRT upstairs. Commercial.
This is an
Or not.
ABC News special. An election year like no other.
Turn up a little.
Record-shattering voter turnout.
A vote for Republicans is a vote for safe communities, great jobs, and a limitless future for all Americans.
Lo-
Choose hope over fear. We choose unity over division. Science
If he wins, he's going to be the oldest president elected.
Really?
He's 77. Trump's 74.
Stand up and take back our democracy.
The final presidential debate starts right now. Live from Belmont University in Nashville, Tennessee. And ABC News election headquarters. Now reporting, Chief Anchor George Stephanopoulos.
Here we go.
And welcome
Is
back.
Chris moderating
Welcome
it?
to tonight's final presidential debate, just moments away now, and that is the scene at Belmont University in Nashville, where President Trump and Vice President Biden will take the stage for 90 minutes and take questions from moderator Kristen Welker of NBC
Yep.
News. Just 12 days to go in this election, almost 50 million Americans have already voted, a sign of the times, in a presidential race transformed by the pandemic and a sign of how engaged Americans
Didn't we
are
you voted
in
early,
this
right?
race. Also a warning sign for President Trump. He's behind in the national polls right now and the key battleground states. The pool
Us.
of undecided voters is
We're
shrinking by
battleground.
the day. He's got to do something tonight to shake up this race. Our chief White House correspondent John Carl is on the scene in Nashville.
And George, when
They're
the
Nashville this
president
time?
is behind, he goes on the attack. I expect that is what will happen here. I think he will go after Joe Biden in very personal
I love that
ways,
shape
going
that
after
masks
his
form
family,
on people's
going after his
face.
son Hunter Biden's business
Don't you
dealings.
love that? Looks like an
Regardless of whether
oval.
or not there are any questions that lead him in that direction, I think he will do that. Now, George, the president complains bitterly about the fact that the microphone will be muted for some of the answers. For some of this. But his advisors
Oh my
actually
God!
think that will be good for the president. What they
Yeah.
really want to come out of this debate is for Joe Biden to make a mistake. And they believe that that is more likely to happen if the president isn't constantly interrupting him.
Right, they want to let Joe Biden talk and see what happens if that happens. Mary Bruce, what is the Biden team prepared for?
Well,
Did you know George Stephanopoulos is 5'5", and I'm 5'8", or 7"?
To avoid giving the president any big openings here. He knows that Donald Trump is going to come after him with personal attacks against him and his family. They're braced for the fact.
In all
that this
honesty, if
debate could get
COVID didn't
ugly.
exist,
And Joe Biden is
I would
going
take time
to
off
push
school
back
and go
against
to
personal
these.
attacks, but he really doesn't
I
want to
really
get into
would.
the mud with the president. That is easier said than done. But
I could get into a
instead,
fight there.
Joe Biden's goal here is really to stay laser focused on the president's handling of this pandemic
I just
and to try and
charged
talk
this.
just directly to the American people. So when Trump comes after
Are we
him,
starting?
Biden is going to argue this isn't about his family.
You're
This
not
is
gonna
about
record the
your
whole thing,
family.
right? No,
What
no,
voters are looking
no.
for in their next
Do you
president.
think I have enough
Biden
memory?
has admitted he lost his temper a little more than he wanted to at the last debate.
He didn't do it enough.
And George, I have to tell you, I have talked to Biden supporters who are not happy.
Oh, I'm still on programmed mode. Oh shit. There we go. Sorry about that. I was on
The
auto.
debate is about to begin
Or
as we
program.
send the moderator Kristen Welker of NBC News. 6 big topics on the agenda tonight: fighting COVID, race, national security, climate.
Who is it?
Kristen Welker.
Oh, so it's not Chris Hansen or whatever.
Good evening from Belmont University.
I'm gonna have to cut this out, but is she a...
Welker of NBC
Isaac.
News.
Is she?
And I welcome you
I'm gonna have to cut that out, aren't I?
2020 presidential debate. President Donald J. Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden.
Look, it's not
Tonight's
shaky
debate
now.
Is sponsored by
I
the
put it back
Commission
on.
on Presidential Debates. It is conducted under health and safety protocols designed by the Commission's health security advisor.
I'm glad I have this
The audience
monopod.
here in the hall has promised to remain silent. No cheers, boos, or other interruptions, except right now, as we welcome to the stage former Vice President Joe Biden and President Donald J. Trump.
And that's it for this clip, folks. But I don't want to end on somebody. That's more like it. When they stop clapping, I'm turning this off. We've ended for this clip. I'll be tweeting all throughout this. Okay, I'm waiting for the claps to stop.
And I do want to say a very good evening
Watch the
to
replay.
both of you. This for hosting us tonight, and most importantly, thank you to those watching tonight. Election Day is November 3rd. Don't forget to vote. Thank you, everyone, and have a great night.
There you have it, second and final debate of this 2020 election. Donald Trump, Joe Biden, two white men in their 70s, two very different candidates. What we heard tonight over the course of 90 minutes as we
Let's see what happens this time.
Come on the stage wearing her mask tonight is two very different visions of how to handle the COVID crisis, how the COVID crisis was handled. For the first 40 minutes or so, it seemed like a relatively normal debate.
Putting my monopod on.
As the candidates laid out their positions on the
Let's see what
COVID
happens
crisis,
this time.
got heated about 40 minutes in when Joe Biden unexpectedly went on offense over Donald Trump and his personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani.
He did it! Oh my God, he did it! Oh, he did it! Look at him. Look at his smug look.
Of his son.
He fucking did it again.
We didn't have the
I
kind
saw
of
it.
interruptions we saw
Ha.
in the first debate. The mute
Grabs her hand like,
did sit
hug me before I rate.
for a time, but there were harsh clashes on health care, the minimum wage, children separated at the border under the Trump administration policy, and the big issue of character and race. Joe Biden memorably saying sarcastically, Abraham Lincoln talking about Donald Trump as one of the most racist presidents of modern times. The big question, John Carl, in the debate hall tonight for the president and his team, did they do enough to change the dynamic of this race?
Well, look, George. This was a much better debate, and kudos to Kristen Welker in the moderating here, and certainly the Trump camp Republicans generally, what I've heard from over the course of the debate, were relieved that Donald Trump was much more disciplined. He wasn't doing all the interruptions. He actually had a theme at times. The theme that Joe Biden is a politician. When Biden would come up with something, why didn't you do it when you were in power? 47 years, why didn't you do it? So much more disciplined, Donald Trump. But George, your question, did it do enough to change the race? I don't think so. And one factor here is that Joe Biden had, I believe, the best debate that he has had in 2020. Joe Biden went on the offense. Joe Biden had Donald Trump on the defensive repeatedly.
I agree.
Even when it got into Hunter Biden, Joe Biden turned it around and put Donald Trump on the defensive about his taxes. I've released my taxes. Why haven't you released your taxes? How much did you pay in taxes? What about your bank account in China? It was a much feistier and more focused Joe Biden as well.
Mary Bruce, the Biden campaign made this debate a priority. They put him down for several days to prep. Perhaps it paid off.
It certainly seems that way. And, you know, George, going into this debate, we were talking about how, in many ways, Joe Biden just needed to stay the course. This was anything but trying to run out the clock here tonight. Joe Biden was surprisingly aggressive. It was, I think I agree with John Carl, his strongest debate performance, much stronger, certainly, than the face-off that we saw him have during the primary.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he did go on offense. He went after Trump really hard on his taxes, on his lack of a health care plan, on foreign influence, on immigration and child separation policies. And his team tonight feels that he did a very strong job here. They say, you know, yes, the president may have had a softer tone, that there weren't the constant interruptions that we saw at the last debate. But Biden's team says, look, that simply doesn't cut it. That they say Trump needed a win here, he needed a big win here, and he didn't do that. That's according to the Biden team. They also feel, you know, that Trump came in trying to drive specific attacks. They say that he repeated lies, and that Biden proved that he can flip the script on the president and put him on defense.
David Muir, he was not sitting on a lead.
No, it wasn't. And right out of the gate, we saw that very difference between the two of them on how they would handle the pandemic. You know, we saw the vice president come out with the black mask on. The president did not have a mask. They differed on where we've been as a country in the pandemic, where we are, and where we're going. The president talked about him having COVID. He said, I'm immune. Said, not sure how long
That's
that lasts,
bullshit.
but I'm immune. So the vaccine was ready. It'll be distributed quickly, although we know regulators have said emergency authorization won't come for a few more weeks, at least until around Thanksgiving. From Vice President Biden, we heard something very different. He said 220,000 Americans are dead. Any president who's responsible for that many deaths should not remain president of the United States. He used the word responsible, which is a strong word for Vice President Biden to use. He said we're about to go through a very dark winter. In stark contrast to what we've heard from Donald Trump, not only in the campaign trail this week, but he said it again tonight during the debate that we are rounding the corner, despite the surge the three of us have been reporting on in this country. And it's really, no part of this country is immune to the spike that we're seeing right now.
Nope.
And where they really did battle is how do you move forward? Vice President Joe Biden made the argument that we've got to get money to small business. We've got to open carefully. It might mean social distancing within these businesses. The president continued to try to hammer him, saying, you've got to open things up. We are stifling the economy here in this country. But it was very stark.
And people are dying.
Every single point when it comes to the pandemic.
Definitely on the pandemic. And Lindsay, one of the other things I think we saw the president trying to make headway with these attacks against Joe Biden, his personal corruption. He said it seemed like Joe Biden came back and sort of embraced that debate, saying character is on the ballot.
Right, and looked right at the American public at that moment and said, you know who we are, right? And now you make that decision. I thought that was a really strong and compelling moment that Joe Biden had. I think that he really had one job to do tonight, and that was do no harm, and I think that he accomplished that. Chris Christie said right off the top that Donald Trump's job was to say, what is he going to do in the next 4 years? Instead, he really gave what you're going to get if Joe Biden is to get elected. You're going to have a depression, the likes of which nobody has ever seen. The stock market is going to crash. Fracking will go away. You're going to have socialized medicine. Small businesses will have to fire employees, and went on and on and on.
Even when he was asked what he would be saying in his inauguration, which presumably would have been after he defeated Joe Biden. We're going to hear from Chris Christie and Rahm Emanuel. Got to take a quick break first.
And there we have it. So, oh scheisse.
I'm looking for my client.
Alright, I'm going to turn this off because I don't need CEO of Karen's, Susan, coming after me. Oh, by the way, Jay, this is the Samsung TV I was talking about. I made a nice acronym for their washers. I will see if I can remember it because I made it up on the fly earlier. Stupid ass machine sings to you. I don't remember what the NG was. Not good, I think. Stupid ass machine sings to you, not good. So that's my acronym for Samsung. Alright. You've already seen my video that I shot tomorrow morning. It's actually the night before, obviously. But we'll have to see. Talk about my thoughts. Thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe and click like if you like what you see. And follow me on the web, wix.com/theelevatorworld/fans. Bye-bye.